So, as some of you may know, and as some of you may not know, Barack Obama has recently come out with a book titled A Promised Land. Now, I remember back when the primaries was still going on, and a lot of people were wondering, where is Barack Obama? Why is he not out supporting his former vice president? And I guess we got our answer. He was writing a book. I think this book is like 700 pages or something like that. Don't go read this bullshit. It's nonsense. Just don't waste your time. I'm not going to waste my time. Just looking at, certain parts of it on social media, that's evidence enough for me that I shouldn't go waste my time getting this book. But I just want to kind of go over a certain part that kind of bothered me, I guess. That's quite an understatement, but he was talking about George W. Bush, and this is what he had to say. I felt quietly angry on his behalf. To protest a man in the final hour of his presidency seemed graceless and unnecessary. More generally, I was troubled by what these last-minute protests said about the divisions that were churning across the country and the weakening of whatever boundaries of decorum had once regulated politics. Now, this insane statement is him referencing when he was riding with George W. Bush to his inauguration, the transfer of power or whatever. And he's upset, basically, or he was upset that people were protesting George Bush's presidency. Okay, let me ask you a question, Obama. Why do you think they were doing that? It's because they lacked decorum and boundaries that once regulated politics? Are you fucking serious? That's why they were protesting his presidency. What, those people they're just a bunch of hooligans that shouldn't have been there. Let me just in case any of you may have forgot, Obama obviously forgotten, or he just never knew who George W. Bush exactly was. Okay? So he's the guy that incited the war on terror, right? He's the guy that invaded a country that didn't attack us, killed 1 million people, hundreds of thousands of innocent Iraqis, right? He issued the executive order that authorized the president's surveillance program, the new directive which allowed the National Security Agency, the NSA, to monitor communications between suspected terrorists outside the U.S. and parties within the U.S. without obtaining a warrant, basically violating your Fourth Amendment rights. He was a torture supporter, waterboarding, among other things, right? I mean, it goes on and on. Hurricane Katrina, how horrible he was on climate change, the economy. It goes on and on, leading into the Great Recession. It goes on and on, right? How horrible of a guy this was. He's a war criminal. But to Obama, all of these facts I just laid out to you are just differing opinions. They're just differing opinions to him. Oh, well, it's in the past, he says. This is who he always was. This is who Obama always was, okay? I remember, back before I kind of had my political birth or awakening or whatever you want to call it, before I really knew the ins and outs of this political system that we're in politics in general, I always thought Obama was a really good guy, an upstanding guy, and I never understood why people would attack him. I never understood why people would talk bad about him. I never understood it. And I'm not just talking about the idiot on Fox News, the far right Republican or whoever that person may be that just comes at him because he's a Democrat. I mean, people with sound arguments, the drone strikes, things of that nature. Like, why are they attacking this innocent guy? Far from innocent. But this is who he always was, though. He was never that guy that was going to come in and be like, that social democratic president that we need. He's not a Bernie Sanders. He's not a FDR. He's not any of those people. He's not even a Lyndon B. Johnson. Barack Obama is a centrist. He's a moderate Republican. He said it himself. He governs like a moderate Republican. And this is who he always was, and this is who he always will be. This is who he always was, and this is who he always will be, people. The weakening of whatever boundaries of decorum had once regulated politics.